Hello fellow YouTubers, welcome to this video. Hopefully I will continue doing these, but it's going to be a raw review as evident by the title. Use your reading abilities, guys. So for the record, now the way I have the setup set up, I have the computer over here. So I'm going to be looking over there, reading my thoughts before I tell you them. So if you guys are looking and going, why does he keep staring off into space? That is why. So my first thought was, before the show even really started, was, does Michael Cole like Roman Reigns? It's a weird thought, because you gotta kind of wonder. I mean, he has to basically force Roman Reigns down our throats. And by association, does that mean he actually believes it? Or does he just do it because it's his job? Okay. So the show starts with Kurt Angle announcing a fatal 5-way at Elimination Chamber, oh my god, at Extreme Rules. Extreme Rules. It features Samoa Joe, Seth Rollins, Bray Wyatt, Roman Reigns, and Finn Balor. Ha! I got through without looking at the screen. But right off the bat, the first thing I see is Samoa Joe and Seth Rollins are still feuding. And Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt are feuding. So the odd man out is Roman Reigns. So does that mean Roman Reigns wins the match? I mean, I can't imagine it's going to be that simple to call. I can't, yet it is. They can't be doing this match at Great Balls of Fire. They have to be saving it for SummerSlam or WrestleMania, right? Unless he wins and then loses at Great Balls of Fire. But then his push seems kind of like, I don't know. First thing that happens is Roman Reigns comes out, okay? And he basically says, I should be number one contender, I am number one contender because I beat Undertaker at WrestleMania. But the thing that caught me off guard, for one, Roman Reigns got cheered. I don't know if it was piped in cheers or if he legitimately is over in New Jersey. I don't know, but the things, like throughout the night, it seemed like he was doing heelish things. So, for instance, here, he's bringing up the things that people were booing him for. So, why? I mean, I guess he needs to bring it up, but at the same point he could have been like, hey, you know, I put Braun on the shelf. Problem solved. And it doesn't make you seem like as much of a heel. Okay, I'm just gonna skip ahead. Basically, everybody for the match comes out, and it's a thing. Balor ends up standing tall at the end of it. I don't really care. The segment was okay, but is it something we're going to remember in a month? No, not really. All we're going to remember from this is that that Kurt Angle announced it. And so the rest of it was kind of just a waste of our time. So then we have Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus. Now, I'm going to be honest, when I went to commercials, I started cleaning. And thus, I didn't see Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus. I would assume it would be an okay match, because Jeff Hardy's an okay worker, Sheamus is an okay worker. You would assume. It's kind of sad that they threw the Cesaro and Sheamus segment at the beginning of the show, so that way you'd have no reason to really care for the rest. Whoops. Good job, WWE. Then we have Sasha Banks versus Alicia Fox. And again, I was still cleaning. I was kind of like coming in every once in a while, seeing what was going on. So I was like, oh, okay, this is a rematch because apparently Alicia Fox had her shoulder up last week. Okay, I don't know why they're going to bury Alicia Fox twice. What was she won? It was weird. Like, I can't remember the last time I remember seeing Alicia Fox win a one-on-one match. Because they normally don't stand out too much. Even weirder than that is the fact that she did it with a scissors kick. For one, she did it to the torso, which, I mean, it's okay, I guess. But even weirder than that is that she kind of sat there for a little bit, like maybe she forgot what she was supposed to be doing. And then she rolled Sasha over and pinned her. And I'm like, what? the match didn't seem that long. I'm like, I must be missing something. Maybe Sasha's in the doghouse. I don't know. I don't know, it caught me off guard. Then we had Ambrose versus The Miz, and at this point I was still cleaning. A little less cleaning, though, because I'm kind of like, well, is The Miz going to win it? Of course not. Why would they do that? Which I'm okay with. The fact that Ambrose kicked out of a skull-crushing finale, I'm really not a fan of that. I literally, because after that point, I kind of stopped paying attention to the match. Because for one, I was like, well, Dean Ambrose is retaining now. There's no way around that. And two, I started thinking, man, what is the point of a finisher if half of them, well, not even half, like 98% of them don't finish matches? I'm like, you hit them the first time, it doesn't matter. But we're losing track of the point. Dean Ambrose loses by DQ. So for one, there was, I'm gonna say it. So The Miz was behind Dean Ambrose and he was supposed to be giving him a low blow, but he kind of waited a little bit and it seemed kind of awkward. I'm sure it wasn't that awkward. I'm sure most low blow spots are like that, but just the camera was like on it. And you could see what he was doing. It looked like maybe he was like trying to give Ambrose like time, which was weird because then Ambrose is catching it and I'm like, well, of course he did. In like realism terms, you've had your hand there for like 5 seconds, Miz. The fuck are you thinking? In terms of kayfabe, obviously, you know, I don't even know. They were waiting for the right moment. I don't know. Dean kicks Miz in the nuts, which, why is it necessary? This is Dean Ambrose. I mean, he just got finished burying Baron Corbin. He has no problem burying The Miz. Just let him fucking beat The Miz. Unless The Miz is going to win the title at Extreme Rules, which I don't think they're going to do. But if he does, then I'm okay with this. But even then, we're going to see another version of this match. And frankly, I don't care. I like The Miz. I do. But I just don't care. Why is The Miz even in the mid-card? Why is he there when Samoa Joe is in the main event picture? I don't get it. Don't get it. So we're going to move on. So Finn gets interviewed backstage, and basically his whole interview, he just says, hey, it might be Roman's yard, but it's my universe. Which, I mean, he's a babyface who hasn't been heel on the main roster, so he doesn't really have much to work with. Alexa Bliss comes out, and at first she starts the promo, and she's like, oh, this is this city, and she's like, wait, that's not right. And she goes, Newark, New Jersey, the sweat glands of America, which was just humorous because, like, for a second, like, you were like, she's gonna say something, nah, no, she's not. She's gonna say something, nah, no, she isn't. Oh, she's insulting him. It was funny because the crowd wasn't having it; they just kept chanting "what," which I'm gonna be honest, I hate. I'm not a big fan of the "what" chant. It happens all the time, and it's like it just kind of ruins the moment. And she had the crowd. She's like, failure says what? And then the crowd chants what back. So it's like either the fans know and they're just doing it to do it, or they really got tripped up. Which, you know, either way. But then Bayley comes out and, yeah, I didn't even write down what they talked about. They just kind of talked for a bit. It was okay. And then Bayley, you know, took a cheap shot on Alexa Bliss, which was interesting. But what ends up happening is Bliss is outside of the ring, finds a kendo stick, and hits Bayley with it one time. And she is selling that injury for the rest of the night. Like, damn, Bayley. Damn. But yeah, the crowd chants EC Dub, which, you know, I guess I'll give that chant a pass here. Because, yeah, I mean, if there's a kendo stick, I don't know. So Angle is backstage when The Miz interrupts, and Kurt asks Miz if he's happy. I don't know, like, I must have missed something here. Because with it starting off so abruptly, like, he's on the phone and he's like, Miz, are you happy? And The Miz is like, why would I be happy? He kicked me. And he does say kick me. He doesn't say in the nuts or in the sack or anything, which was a weird, I mean, I guess it makes sense keeping it PG, but it was just weird. And Kurt basically, okay, so The Miz yelling at Kurt, and then Kurt says, you better watch your tone with me, and then Maurice just lets loose in French, and then Kurt, you know, he starts talking back, but it's like basic French that, like, doesn't relate to this at all. Like, I heard him say Je m'appelle, which is, like, my name, which was funny, and then it ends with, like, Olympic gold medalist, which was humorous, because, you know, it's not relevant. It's not. It's not. This was a very Kurt Angle heavy show, but he ends it with that, and then the Drifter drifts in, and then Kurt's like, "May I help you with something?" And then the Drifter just stops for a second, and he walks off. Which, you know what, that might have been the best part of the show. This was a very mediocre show, I must say. So we had a tag team match featuring those good old cruiserweights, Neville and TJP versus Austin Aries and Jack Gallagher. I unmuted the TV because it was on commercial. I was putting up a video on the Dons of Gaming channel. I unmute the TV and hear CM Punk really loud. And I'm like, yeah, this not gonna be cool. After that, I think towards the end of the match there was a chant for, I want to say it was Derek Jeter, and I'm sorry guys, come on, why do you always do this? Like, I don't get it. Derek Jeter isn't there. These are the cruiserweights. The reason the cruiserweights are there is because fans like you wanted them there. So you're gonna sit there and chant for a baseball player? It ain't even the right sport, dumb fuck. Okay. Moving on. TJP steals victory over Jack Gallagher. I think Jack took like one move, which I'm never a fan of. But I mean, it was okay, I guess. The one thing that really sticks out watching this is how much Jack Gallagher is just far and away the best cruiserweight they have. I mean, like, when he's in the ring, it's more interesting. His character is more interesting. The Neville and Aries feud has been going on for far too long. We're getting the third match between them for the title, and I'm sorry, but if Aries wins, then it's kind of like, well, of course you fucking won. You can wrestle one guy a dozen times. Sooner or later, you're gonna beat him. It just, not feeling it. Bayley is seen backstage when Kurt Angle shows up. Angle offers her a completely fair match for Extreme Rules because he's like, I know you like doing things by the book. You got to do the cooking by the book. And basically she says, I don't want that. I want to have some sort of Extreme Rules match so I can make her my bitch. She doesn't say it like that, but... Oh, and Kurt decides it's going to be a kendo stick on a pole match. Whoop do you fucking do? Who cares? Kendo stick on a... What? Anyway, R-Truth is seen talking to Goldust backstage, and he apologizes for them losing the Tag Team Turmoil match last week, which I never got the rant about, but what kind of bullshit is that? Come on, Cesaro and Sheamus buried the whole tag team division. It's like, what should have happened, especially with, I'll just go into it. So Goldust turns his back on R-Truth and beats the piss out of him. So, if the goal was to get to this point, okay, then why didn't we have Cesaro and Sheamus lose to Golden Truth, which would be like, okay, that's no big deal. I mean, they were fresh. Cesaro and Sheamus just wrestled, you know, 3 other teams, I think. That's fine, nobody's judging. And then after Extreme Rules, when Golden Truth inevitably loses, then you can have like a #1 contendership match between Golden Truth and then Cesaro and Sheamus. So for one, they can get some wins, a new heel team, and then when they lose, you can have Goldust turn his back on R-Truth instead of having Cesaro and Sheamus run over the whole tag team division. I mean, we're going to see the same match for the second time, and I'm still pretty sure the Hardys are going to retain, so there just doesn't seem to be much point for the match. I mean, okay, so then we have the Balor versus Roman Reigns match. I'm going to be honest, guys, I really don't like Finn Balor. You guys know this. You should. Most people don't like Roman Reigns, and then we're not arguing this. Okay, it doesn't matter. The point of the matter is, I didn't really care. The match was on, Reigns won, and I'm sure the internet's going to complain that, oh, Reigns was injured and he still won. And you know what? Fine, I'll agree with you guys, because realistically, Finn Balor should have won, but at the same point, Roman Reigns already lost to him. So, they just shouldn't have made the match, to be honest. They had other matches they could have done. They could have had Reigns, Samoa Joe. What's wrong with that? But it doesn't matter. So, Reigns wins. I mean, it was a long match. It seemed decent from what I looked up and saw. But I didn't care. Wyatt cut a promo afterwards, saying he'll win the title, and I laugh because I go, Bray Wyatt winning. It's started out as a fake laugh, and then I started really thinking about it, and it became a real laugh. Let's see, Rollins gets interviewed backstage, basically saying he'll beat Lesnar because he beat Triple H, which we know he won't do because, come on, it's Brock Lesnar. Oh, but yeah, then it's the Goldust turning his back on R-Truth, which the Smarky crowd chants, "Thank you, Goldust." And I just see that and I go, really? Really? The beatdown lasts way too long. There's a serviceable amount of time for a beatdown. If it goes on for too long, it just drags, especially when it's people you don't care about, or if it's people you like. And so for me personally, I'm like, this is just a thing. It's going on way too long. You could have just given this extra time to I don't know, and I mean, Big Cass versus Titus O'Neil, which was the next match. Before that, Enzo and Cass come out, and they're doing their thing, and then Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews come out, which, I mean, it was humorous. I'll take back what I said before. This is probably the highlight of the night, was Titus O'Neil doing the Enzo stick, except putting his own spin on it, which is humorous. I mean, not like it's gonna matter. Basically, he's implying that Apollo Crews is gonna fight Enzo Amore, which actually seems like a halfway decent match. I mean, I'd like to see Apollo Crews get some TV time, maybe get a win sooner or later. But then the match ends up being Titus O'Neil versus Big Cass. Titus O'Neil's got a suit on, so he's like, I can't wrestle this match, I'm wearing a suit! And, okay, so the match starts, and basically Big Cass hits O'Neil with a single big boot and pins him 1, 2, 3. If that doesn't say what they feel about Titus O'Neil, I don't know what does. That hurts. TJP and Neville are backstage, and I completely missed it. I came into the room, saw what was going on, I was like, oh yeah, I can rewind. And I tried to rewind the TV, and it wouldn't, and by the time I figured out that no matter how many times I hit rewind, it wasn't rewinding, the promo was over. It was something about 205 Live, which, fuck 205 Live. Ain't nobody got time for that. So we have the main event, Wyatt versus Seth Rollins. By this point, I'm gonna be honest, it's just too long of a show. So I'm just kind of like, eh. I'm not really paying attention. Samoa Joe comes out. You can tell he was coming out because the crowd started chanting really loud. So I actually looked up to see this. Then Joe and Wyatt have like a stare down where you think, like, are they gonna fight? And of course not, because they're heels. So they beat up Seth Rollins some more. It's just a bunch of stomps. And then Wyatt pulls him back, kind of like how he does to, like, the Wyatt family, how he used to. And I'm kind of like, well, maybe Joe's going to attack him. No, Bray's going to attack him. And then Bray hits Joe with the Sister Abigail, and he hits Seth Rollins with one. And the show ends with Bray Wyatt standing on top. I'm like, what? What was the point of this? So remember, like, a month ago, when they did the Superstar Shakeup? It's been a month. Today, I'm recording this, it is May 15th. The Superstar Shakeup was 8 days after WrestleMania. So it's been over a month, and they still haven't started this damn feud. It's like, just fucking do it. Make it happen. Like, I don't want to see it. This should be a WrestleMania feud. Even though I don't particularly care for either guy, this is a WrestleMania feud. And they're just kind of like shitting it all down the toilet. I don't know why. Weird things that I noticed, the Club wasn't on the show. I mean, yeah, they were supposed to take on the Golden Truth, but they didn't even like cut a promo backstage, which is weird because you'd imagine you'd be trying to build them up as something. And if you weren't going to, you should have just sent them to SmackDown, where SmackDown could have been doing something with him, but that's not going to happen. There was one Cruiserweight segment, which is about right. Honestly, the number should be 0, but it had Gentleman Jack Gallagher in it, so. The way I'm going to do these reviews is anything in this show going to really be memorable? Is there going to be a promo that you're just not going to be able to forget? A match that might be match of the year? Is there anything, really? Was this Raw something you couldn't have missed? And the answer is no. You could have missed this Raw, and it wouldn't have mattered. The show dragged, because of course it did. It's Raw. It's 3 hours. It's too long. The matches, half of them ended really quick, like the O'Neil Big Cass match. the Sasha Banks Alicia Fox match, and there was one other match. I don't know why. I don't know. I'm blanking. But then other matches went way too long, and I mean, I can't complain, because, I mean, meh. But at the same point, if the match goes way too long, you could have redistributed that time. They could have made a better show than this. They really could have. Not saying it was a bad show, but this is not a, man, I missed that episode of Raw show, if that makes any sense. If you missed this Raw, you really didn't miss that much. It's a fact of the matter. This will not be a Raw that'll even be remembered in a month. It's the facts. Literally, looking back on the show, like, none of it stood out. And I mean, it's 11:30. The show just ended 30 minutes ago. The one thing that did stand out was the fact that WWE refuses to say when they're going to fight Brock Lesnar. So whoever wins this match is going to take on Brock Lesnar. When? When? Because we know that it's going to be Great Balls of Fire. But, like, even the company doesn't want to say the name. I felt like an idiot saying the name. And I say the stupidest shit possible. Like, I like Roman Reigns. And I like The Miz. And I feel stupid saying Great Balls of Fire. Anyway, show's missable. If you missed it, I wouldn't even go back. If you were going to, I'd see the Titus O'Neil mocking Enzo thing. That was humorous. Aside from that, it was just setting up matches for Extreme Rules. So, if you want to enjoy more of these videos, because we'll be doing one of these hopefully every Monday, Tuesday, and hopefully I'm going to be uploading on this channel a lot, basically. But make sure you check out my Twitter. I'll put the link in the description box, because I made a new Twitter, and on that Twitter I will be tweeting out the videos as they go live on all 3 channels. So that way, if you're not subscribed to all 3, you just subscribe to this one, well then you'll be able to see like a video you want to see on the other channel. That way you don't have to be subscribed to all the channels, but you can still communicate with me, the great Mudlup, on Twitter. Thanks for watching. Peace out. I'm Skillets.